Hello everyone, I'm making this video out of a request that a subscriber had, which is the surviving of a relationship after infidelity. And I want to give you the good news that yes, infidelity is not strong enough to break relationships. I am an infidelity specialist. I see cases of infidelity day in and day out. That's pretty much what I see other than divorce cases or other relationships that are breaking up. So what I want to tell you is that from my experience and the experience of being in this field for years, an infidelity alone is not going to break a relationship. An infidelity is an indication that something needs fixing, something needs healing rather than fixing. Nobody's broken, you just need healing. And many times it's an individual, but usually it's an entire relationship. It's everybody in the relationship. An infidelity, discovery of an infidelity is not to be taken as this is time to leave. It is to be taken as what's going on. It's a wake-up call. It's an opportunity to say something is wrong. We have to get together. We have to do something about it. Now, there are partners who are not willing to work with you. If you are the one who wants to save the relationship. However, one person can on their own start to change. And when you in a relationship change, when you stand up in the full power of who you are, what I can tell you is that because the relationship is a system, the other person will rise up as well. The potential to save a relationship after infidelity is very high. Because the change that people bring about in their healing and in themselves and in their relationships is very, very fast. For me, one of the reasons I love working with people with infidelity is because their progress is like that of kindergartners, people who are taking years, many times months and years to have personal evolutions in these areas. Somebody who's in a crisis like that is going to take weeks and days and just sometimes even a moment to start to bring about those changes. So when an infidelity takes place, one of the things that happens is that this is something that is very, very useful for anyone who's going through that one person, generally speaking, it's the one who's betrayed, starts to realize that this relationship is slipping from my hand. But sometimes it's not the betrayer. Sometimes it's not the one who's betrayed. Sometimes it's the betrayer. And one person or the other starts to really amp up on following or chasing the other person. Unfortunately, that jolts the relationship into a pursuer-retreater dynamic. And that dynamic goes like this. The more you chase me, the more I want to run away. But the more you run away, the more I freak out and I want to chase you. And then it goes on. But now that you're chasing me, I'm freaking out and I want to run away more. Do you see how that just goes unidirectional? It goes and goes and goes. And it just becomes more and more tighter and vicious, like in a spiral, like the middle of a spiral goes tighter. And it just starts to become really, like I said, vicious and sometimes even violent. So this dynamic does not have an end to it. Generally, unless people become conscious and they say, stop, I don't want this anymore. This doesn't feel good. I'm not doing this. Well, generally speaking, it is not the person who's running away that can stop a dynamic like that, because this dynamic is an anxiety-based dynamic. I want to be very clear that many times people think that you're chasing me because you love me. But the truth is that they're chasing you because of their anxiety. And the truth is that somebody might say that, oh, you're running away because you don't love me. This dynamic has nothing to do with love. That person's running away because they're anxious. It's an anxiety-based dynamic. It's a dependency. It shows dependency, not love. So in order to stop that dynamic, usually the person who's chasing is the one that has to stop. So if I show, like, I don't know, I usually do this with my clients. If I show that this person is chasing and this person is running away, I'm doing this very multimedia, high-tech example here for you. This person's running away and this person's chasing. What my request is that the person who's chasing needs to stop and they need to be in neutral. This is neutral. So that this person who's running away can notice, feel that space between them. It'll take them a minute. It doesn't happen because this person is likely somebody who likes to run away, whose defense is to run away. They have to turn around and they have to come towards you. Now, my biggest problem is that this person who is chasing generally doesn't stay in neutral. The only time they will stop chasing is if they go the opposite way. They're like, oh, screw you. I don't even need you. Don't let the door hit you on your behind. That kind of an attitude. And I'm asking for a neutrality. No one can stay in this position without feeding themselves, feeding whatever anxiety, whatever pain comes up to feed themselves. And this is when you may need a therapist. You may need some guide. You may need your community only telling people who actually help and not harm out of their own agendas. So now what happens is that when this person comes, if this person isn't in neutral, which means if they're not feeding themselves, if they are able to feed their neediness on their own without, you know, and anybody else's contribution, then they stay neutral. And then even when this person starts to come and pursue them, they stay neutral and this person rises up and becomes whole because this person is able to stabilize as much. If you ever want to affect change, if you want your partner to change, it's not that, oh, I said it to him this way, I said it to him that way, I made it impossible for him. If you want anybody in your life to change, the best way to inspire someone to change is to change yourself. And not because you want the other person to change, but because you care for yourself and you want to change for the sake of changing, for the sake of your own, out of your own self-honoring and self-trust. So this person has to remain solid. Usually what will happen is that when a person turns in anxiety, this is an anxious stand, which a person says, screw you, I don't even want you. Now this person comes around and they're like, hey, you know, I see that there's a lot of space and, you know, I'm here. Finally, I'm here. They usually take a long time to come. So this person comes and they're like a little bit of a honeymoon period, but then they come and they're like, oh, all the ways. They're like, they start chasing in a way that becomes so scary for this person that they run away. So this is like the dynamic that I'm telling you guys about. The pursuer-retreater dynamic is literally like emotional physics. It's like a seesaw. So if you're going to push down here, this part is going to rise. If you're going to push down here, it's just the way it is. And just think about the commodity principle. People want things or things or people or situations are valuable when there's scarcity created. I'm not saying to pose. This is your life. This is who you are. You don't want to be posing or pretending to be turning away, to be doing that. But you have to also see whether whatever you are doing is in line with your dignity or not. If it's not dignified for you to do that, my request is to stop. I hope this helps. Ask me questions. Please don't jump to breaking up right when you hear about infidelity. Take care and love and light from my heart to yours. I hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.